Games are meant to be fun, not to mess with your mental health, but believe it or not, some games crossed the line so badly that they got banned around the world. In today's video, we're diving into 20 games you're not allowed to play. Get ready for some shocking titles you probably didn't know were illegal. Let's jump right in. Pokemon Go. In 2016, something shocking happened in Iran. People couldn't play Pokemon Go anymore. The government suddenly banned the game, saying it might be dangerous. They were scared that the game, which uses GPS, could make players wander into secret or restricted places. But Iran wasn't alone in this. Saudi Arabia also banned Pokemon Go. Their top online authority, called the High Council of Virtual Spaces, made the decision to block the game inside the country. But here's where things get even stranger. Saudi Arabia's top religious leaders had already warned about Pokemon way back in 2001. They didn't like the card game either. They said it was too close to gambling and claimed it showed ideas like evolution and many gods, which go against their beliefs. They even said the cards had strange symbols connected to groups like Zionism, Freemasonry, and Japan's Shinto religion. For some people, this fun game seemed like a serious threat. Football Manager. This game made China really angry. In 2005, the football game Football Manager got banned in China, not because of violence or bad content, but because it showed Taiwan and Hong Kong as separate countries. That really upset the Chinese government. Even though the game wasn't officially sold in China, authorities still ordered a huge crackdown. They told their teams to search for illegal copies in shops and small markets. If someone was caught selling it, they could get a big fine. Internet providers were also warned they had to block the game or risk losing their license. Things got even more serious with what the game showed. The game didn't just mention Taiwan and Hong Kong, it also included Tibet and Macau, places China considers fully under its control. Taiwan has its own government, but China says it's part of the country. Hong Kong came back to China in 1997 and Macau in 1999. The Chinese Ministry of Culture said the game insulted their national pride. This isn't the first time a foreign company got in trouble for this kind of thing. If anything goes against what China believes, they act fast, even in the world of video games. The Sims 4. You won't believe why a fun game like The Sims 4 got banned in a whole country. This game lets you create your own characters, build houses, choose their jobs, and even shape their love lives. You could design everything from how your sim looks to who they fall in love with. People all over the world enjoy playing it because it feels like you're controlling a small world of your own. But in 2017, the government of Uzbekistan banned The Sims 4, and the reason might shock you. Officials believed the game didn't match their country's values. They were worried it could teach young people bad behavior and even harm social and political balance. Some people think the real reason is that the game allows same-sex relationships, which goes against the cultural and religious beliefs in Uzbekistan. Back in 2008, something surprising happened in Brazil. A judge banned the popular video game Bully. People were really worried about the game's violent content and how it might affect kids and teenagers. Judge Flavio Rebello stepped in and stopped the game from being sold, imported, or even promoted in the country. He gave stores and companies 30 days to follow the new rule. The main reason behind the ban was that the game was seen as dangerous for young players because of the message it sent. The game Bully was made by Rockstar Games and told the story of a 15-year-old student trying to survive in a tough boarding school. The player had to deal with bullies, teachers, and school cliques while standing up for what's right. But because everything happened inside a school, many people thought it sent the wrong message. A local youth center raised the alarm, saying the game might harm young minds. Even though it was banned in Brazil, the first version of Bully had already sold around 1,500,000 copies around the world. EA Sports MMA. This ban happened for a shocking reason. EA Sports always tries to make their games feel real. So when they made EA Sports MMA, they added things like real ads on fighters' clothes and inside the fighting arenas. But this attention to detail caused a big problem in Denmark. The country has a strict law that bans energy drink advertisements, and the game was full of those. You won't believe what Denmark did next. Because of the energy drink ads in the game, Denmark decided to completely ban EA Sports MMA. That's right, the game wasn't even allowed to be sold or shipped there. An EA spokesperson said they had no choice but to follow Danish law. So all because of a few virtual energy drink logos, the game never made it to Denmark. Wolfenstein 3D. It was more than just a game, it was banned like a crime. Back in 1994, Germany banned Wolfenstein 3D, a video game where players fight Adolf Hitler in a bunker filled with Nazi symbols. These symbols were seen as offensive and linked to dangerous propaganda. The ban didn't just stop with the main game, it also covered its 1997 expansion, Spear of Destiny. Even though it was just a game, German law took it seriously because of its Nazi imagery. After 25 years, things finally started to change. In 2019, the ban was lifted, but German players still couldn't easily get the game. It didn't have an official age rating. That made it hard to sell in stores. But recently, there's been good news. Germany's Game Rating Board, USK, finally reviewed Wolfenstein 3D and gave it a proper age rating. Now it's officially allowed for players age 16 and older. Mortal Kombat. You won't believe this, but one of the most famous fighting games in the world is banned in many countries. Yes, Mortal Kombat, the brutal and action-packed game known for its violent fights and deadly moves, has been causing controversy since it first came out. Countries like Japan, South Korea, and China didn't allow Mortal Kombat 1 to release at all. And it didn't stop there. Many versions of the game have faced trouble over the years, from its very first version in 1992, which got banned in parts of Germany, to newer ones getting censored on different platforms. Mortal Kombat has always been in the spotlight for its violent style. Here's where it gets even crazier. Mortal Kombat 2011 wasn't allowed in some areas of Germany and South Korea. And when Mortal Kombat 11 came out, it got banned in Indonesia and Ukraine because of certain symbols used in the game. But the biggest shock? The entire Mortal Kombat series is completely banned in Japan, Malaysia, and Uzbekistan. That means fans in those countries can't officially play any of the game. Even though millions around the world love the game, Mortal Kombat continues to face bans for being too extreme. Roblox. You won't believe this, but one of the world's most popular games was actually banned in several countries. Roblox, the online gaming platform that started back in 2001, became super famous for letting people create and play over 50 million games. Think of it like YouTube, but for games. With over 100 million players every month, it became a favorite for kids and teens. But even with all that success, some countries weren't happy with it. In Guatemala, the whole platform was banned over concerns about children's safety. Here's where it gets even more surprising. Countries like Belgium and Jordan also blocked Roblox, but only certain games inside it caused the ban. Oman joined the list too, though they never clearly explained why. And back in May 2018, Roblox was banned in the United Arab Emirates because of inappropriate avatars and chats. But the good news, that ban didn't last forever. It was lifted in 2021 after Roblox fixed those issues. Fallout 3. This decision shocked everyone. Back in 2008, Microsoft made a surprising move by deciding not to release Fallout 3 in India. What made it strange was that no one forced them. They chose to pull the game before any ratings board or public protest could step in. The game takes place in a world after a huge disaster where people survive using strange creatures, including two-headed cows called Brahman. Now here's the thing. In Hinduism, cows are holy and respected, so having a game where players could hurt these sacred creatures was seen as highly offensive. And that's not all. The name had deep meaning too. The word Brahman isn't just any name. It comes from India and is used for a special breed of cattle. But even more importantly, it's a sacred term in Hindu philosophy meaning the ultimate reality or goal of life. It's also the name for a respected class of teachers and priests in Indian society. Because of all this, using that name for mutated animals in a violent game didn't sit well. Even the Japanese version of the game had to make changes, especially scenes that showed nuclear explosions in places where people live. The controversial Guy game. The Guy game shocked many when it came out in 2004. Made by Top Heavy Studios, it was a trivia and voyeur-style adventure game for PC, Xbox, and PS2. The game took players to South Padre Island, Texas, during wild spring break parties. Players had to guess the answers of drunk women to unlock risky videos of them. It sounded like a fun idea, but soon parents and leaders worried about what was really happening behind the scenes. The trouble started when one of the girls in the game sued the makers, Microsoft and Sony. She said they used her image without asking, and she was only 17 years old when the videos were made. Too young to say yes legally. Even though the game said all the women were 18 or older, this was not true. Despite the lawsuit, the company sold the videos again, on a DVD called The Guy Game, Game Over, charging almost $20. This made the game even more controversial and raised many questions about privacy and consent. Postal 2. You won't believe how much trouble one video game caused around the world. Postal 2, made by Running with Scissors, is a first-person shooter that came out after the original Postal game from 1997. This game is famous for being very violent and full of shocking scenes that some people found really offensive. Because of this, many countries didn't want it. New Zealand banned it in 2004, calling it too gross. Australia followed and completely banned it too. Malaysia joined in 2007, saying the game was too violent and cruel. Germany and France also banned it, and Sweden stopped sales for a while. But the story didn't end there. Even with all the bans and angry critics, Postal 2 kept a group of fans who liked its wild style. When the game first came out in 2003, reviews were all over the place. Some gave it the lowest score ever, while others thought it was a clever and bold game. Then, in 2009, it became available worldwide again through an online store called GOG, and later in 2012, it hit Steam, a popular game platform. So despite all the fights over its content, Postal 2 survived and still has people playing it today. Carmageddon. This game, Carmageddon, caused a huge stir when it came out in 1997. It was made by Stainless Games and published by Sales Curve Interactive and Interplay Productions. The trouble started because the game let players run over people with cars, and some countries thought this was dangerous. In Buenos Aires, it was banned after real-life accidents involving cars. Brazil also banned it because they said it encouraged violence on the road. The game was so wild that Germany had to change it before letting people play. They swapped out people and cows for robots that didn't move, and instead of blood, a strange black oil would spill when the robots got hit. The UK had its own fight with Carmageddon 2. At first, they refused to give the game a rating because of all the violence, so the makers changed the pedestrians from screaming humans to groaning zombies. Instead of blood, green slime would come out when the zombies got hit. But even then, the publisher wasn't happy and fought back. After an appeal, they won, and the original violent version was allowed again in later releases. Carmageddon's wild story shows how a game about driving fast and causing chaos pushed the limits in many countries. Hatred. You won't believe the chaos this game caused. Hatred is about a lone sociopath who goes on a violent killing spree, attacking civilians and police just for the sake of pure violence. The game was made as a dark crusade with no deeper story or reason, just ruthless killing. When it was announced in October 2014, people everywhere reacted strongly, mostly in anger. Even Epic Games, the company that made the game engine, wanted their logo taken off the trailer because they didn't want to be linked to it. The game's brutal theme shocked many and caused a big fuss. But here's the twist. Despite all the hate and calls for its removal, a lot of people supported it. Before it got taken off the big game store Steam, over 10,000 players voted yes to keep it there, with only about 1,000 voting no. Plus, the game's trailer on YouTube got hundreds of thousands of views, so even though Hatred was hated by many, it also found a solid group of fans who stood behind it. This game became one of the most talked about and controversial games in recent years. Homefront. The year is 2027, and something shocking has happened. Imagine North Korea taking over parts of the United States for 2 whole years. This is the world of Homefront, a game released in 2011 by Cal Studios, a part of THQ. The game was so intense and real that South Korea banned it right away. What makes Homefront so gripping is that its story wasn't just made up. The creators worked with a former CIA officer named Tai Kim. He helped build a future that feels possible because it's based on real politics and events happening today. The story begins after North Korea has taken control of Honolulu and then moves on to hold San Francisco, taking important military bases. This strange future also shows the death of Kim Jong-soo and his son Kim Jong-un becoming the leader. Under his rule, North and South Korea unite and grow stronger. Homefront shows a scary what-if about a world turned upside down, making players think about how real life and games can sometimes come very close. The Hidden Message Game. Something surprising happened when a Taiwanese game company called Red Candle Games released a horror game set in Taiwan during the 1980s. The game was full of creepy stories, but players soon noticed secret messages hidden inside. These messages were like jokes or clues that only careful players could find. One of these hidden items showed a poster with the name of China's president, Xi Jinping, next to a picture of Winnie the Pooh. This was a big deal because since 2017, China had banned Winnie the Pooh on the internet after people compared the president to that character. When the game's hidden messages became known, online talks about the game started getting blocked and censored. The company quickly felt the heat and apologized for the hidden jokes, even offering refunds to upset players. This caused a lot of attention because Taiwan is seen by China as a rebellious region, and any hint of criticism is taken very seriously. Red Candle Games' secret message became a powerful example of how video games can sometimes hide real-world politics and risks in plain sight. What started as a horror game turned into a story about courage, censorship, and a quiet fight for freedom inside the game world. Grand Theft Auto 5. The story starts with a big change in GTA 5 on July 23rd, 2019. Rockstar added a virtual diamond casino and resort in the game's city, Los Santos. Now, players could try their luck at slot machines, poker, roulette, and even horse racing, all inside the game. But this update caused a huge problem. Over 55 countries, where the game was already under fire for violence, decided to ban it completely. Players aged 18 and up could buy casino chips with real money to play, but these chips couldn't be turned back into cash. Instead, players used their winnings to buy weapons, gear, and cars in the game. Back then, $7.00 real money got you 500,000 GTA dollars, and players got discounts if they bought more chips. Thailand had a very serious reason to ban all GTA games, and it wasn't just about violence in the game itself. In 2008, a taxi driver was sadly killed by someone who was said to be a big fan of GTA's crime-filled world. This tragic event pushed Thailand to stop selling the game completely. While other countries banned it for violent content, Thailand's decision was because of that one real-life incident tied to the game's influence. The GTA 5 casino update only made things worse, leading many places to block the game for good. Active shooter game controversy. In 2018, something shocking happened in the gaming world. Valve, the company that owns the huge online store Steam, decided to remove a game called Active Shooter before it was even released. This game was about simulating a school shooting, and many people found it deeply offensive. Victims and parents who had lived through real school shootings were very upset. They started an online petition that gathered over 180,000 signatures to stop the game from coming out. The anger grew even more when a charity fighting against gun violence called the game appalling. News outlets like CNN shared how families from the tragic Parkland, Florida school shooting called the game despicable. Even a Florida Senate candidate named Bill Nelson said the game was inexcusable and said the developer should feel ashamed. Valve didn't just ignore the outcry. They explained their choice by pointing to the developer's bad past behavior. The company even sent an email to the media to explain why they acted quickly before the game's release date. Interestingly, the game's publisher tried to stay away from the controversy, but it was too late. The original game listing openly described the violent content, which made the backlash even stronger. This story shows how powerful voices can stop something many find hurtful from going public. Animal Crossing Protest Islands. Animal Crossing New Horizons is a game that lets players create their own little worlds, and it became super popular on Nintendo Switch. But here's the surprising part. Some players in China started using their islands to send secret protest messages against the government. They decorated their islands with slogans and signs to show their dissatisfaction. This was a clever way to speak up, all inside a game. Because the game allowed players to design anything they wanted, it quickly became a new kind of protest space. The Chinese government noticed this and didn't like it. They decided to ban sellers from reselling the game on Taobao, Chinese big online market. Even though Animal Crossing was never officially released in China, players still got the game through unofficial channels. New rules were also made, like requiring real name registration and banning certain content like zombies or group activities in games. This crackdown shows how powerful even a simple game can be when people use it to express their voices. Call of Duty. Call of Duty Black Ops takes you back to the Cold War, where you go on dangerous missions in places like Cuba, Vietnam, and Russia, but one mission caused a big problem. trying to kill a young Fidel Castro. The Cuban government got really angry because the real Castro survived 638 attempts on his life. This mission made the game almost get banned in Cuba, but that was just the start of the trouble for Call of Duty. The game also faced bans and censorship around the world. In 2010, Japan removed all the scary scenes with body parts being cut off. Saudi Arabia banned Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare because of how it showed war in the Middle East, even though the country was never named. Then, Modern Warfare 2 was banned in the United Arab Emirates for showing Quranic content. Russia also got upset in 2009 when a mission let players kill civilians at a Russian. These controversies made Call of Duty one of the most talked about and banned games ever. Manhunt 2. Manhunt 2 shocked the world when it came out on October 29, 2007. Made by Rockstar London, this horror game was so violent that many countries tried to ban it. Even the Wii version made players use the remote to do scary and violent moves. The game caused huge anger, and some places, like the US and UK, stopped the game unless it was changed. Twitch, the popular streaming site, also banned the uncensored version in 2015 because it broke their rule. The game faced serious trouble everywhere. In Ireland, Manhunt 2 was the only video game ever banned by the film censors. Other countries like Malaysia, Germany, New Zealand, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, and Kuwait also blocked the game because of its extreme violence. And that's it for the 20 games you're not allowed to play. Which one shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss out on crazy game stories like these. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.